CJ Robert told us you're dealing with the hamstring. Just how are you feeling, and what are your thoughts about your availability for Sunday?
Well, with the hamstring, it's a day-to-day type thing. I wish it was something you can really pinpoint and get it squared away. But it's something that, if you get back too early or if you try to push too fast, it can, make things worse. So honestly, it's really just a day-to-day thing. Get my rehab in every day, doing my, workouts with our trainers and everything. So you got to take it one day at a time.
It wasn't a hamstring that you had, a couple of years ago, but it was one, a soft tissue issue that you had, came back, and then it obviously wasn't the same. When you look back to how you handle that injury, now dealing with this hamstring, or is it kind of completely different?
I would say the level of the injury was a little different. With the groin, it was a little higher. With my position, that definitely affected a lot more movement. Through the MRI was a little bit like the strain was more than what the hamstring is now. But that's definitely something that that I look back on, and like I just said, if you rush it back too early, you can injure it even more. So, like I said, for me, it's feeling good right now, but it's really just a day-to-day thing, and just to make sure I'm closest or to 100% when I get back on the field.
So that happened late in the Atlanta game?
Yes, it did. Yeah, towards the end, luckily. So, and with the bye week that happened right after, that was the timing was real fortunate of how it occurred. But it was just playing ball, and things just happened. So.
Did you come out, CJ? I thought you played.
It was like the second to last play of the game. So yeah, it was way towards the end.
Have you ever dealt with a hamstring injury before?
I have in my past, not as of late, but I mean it's part of ball. Sometimes you get caught in weird situations. It can be a non-contact injury. So just things that happen. So just like I said, just one day at a time. Stay focused. Still do all my film work, meetings, and all that stuff. So nothing's really changed as far as the routine of the week.
Do you think you need to practice at all this week to be able to play?
I mean, for me, I would say no, I don't need to. But it's a work in progress as far as making sure I'm getting the right amount of reps in my rehab. Doing the right things, off the field. So it's something that we all, put our heads together and make sure we do the right things. But, right now we're looking optimistic for this weekend.
How do you feel like you guys can play as a linebacker group with a lot of young guys in there?
I feel like we've been doing pretty well. Outside of, week before last game, we definitely had some communication errors in the linebacker room, some mistakes that we usually don't make. But I think for the most part, collectively, the linebacker group been playing well, especially with the injuries that we dealt with earlier. A lot of moving parts at all positions. I feel like we are a very close linebacker group. A lot of communication. Guys really understanding each other's play style and the chemistry and the way we talk to each other on and off the field.
With your hamstring injury, it's just going to come down to how you feeling on game day when you go through the warm-ups?
Pretty much.
CJ, beyond your ability as a linebacker, you're also in the middle of this defense in terms of calling the defenses and making adjustments. Do you spend any time this week with Jamie or Quincy or whoever and just kind of give them some pointers if they have to do that someday?
Well, I try not to force myself to have them sit down with me or watch film. If they want to watch film willingly, I'm 100% with it. But when we all meet together, we're all talking. If I see anything, if anybody sees anything as far as the formation or anything that we know from players or anything from the past, it's pretty much an open mic in the linebacker room. So we talk about all the little keys that we see. So I think honestly, we prepare ourselves real well in the linebacker room. Just what we need to do on our side and what to expect from our opponents with their formation and things like that. So I know Quincy been joking with me a lot about I'm gonna be talking to you all week, but I feel I'm very confident in our linebacker group. I'm very confident in whoever that we have on the field because I know our guys have proven that they can make plays, and they have been making plays since spring ball and training camp and preseason and all that.
We talked to Coach Sala earlier. He was talking about Josh McDaniels' offense and how it puts stress on guys who have to kind of decide between the run and the pass.
Mm-hmm.
You face them a lot of times when Baltimore ain't here. What is that like as a linebacker with facing that offense?
We have to be very disciplined with your eyes. They do a lot of things with their formations and moving guys around. putting guys in different positions to try to, mess with your eyes and make you think you're seeing something, but it's really the same formation, just different personnel. So one is, getting our coverage and knowing, what our job is in that coverage. Then after that, we just, dissecting what the offense is doing and just go play football. So, I mean, honestly, that's kind of what we pride ourselves on in our room. We call it cake, call, alignment, key, and execute. So run, and after that, just run and hit.
From your perspective, because you're so involved in coverage, how does it happen where defensive ends end up covering tight ends on the 2 touchdowns?
Just the call that we were in. So either kudos to them for being in the right call, or just being in the right place at the right time. But that's all that was.
What stood out to you about their young quarterback, watching him?
For me, he's not a guy that really get rattled. He definitely doesn't show it if he does get rattled. But he takes what the game gives him. He takes what the defense gives him, and he just go try to do his job. And that's what you want from a quarterback. Obviously, a young quarterback. So what we have to do is make sure first we stop the run, because if they get the run game going, that's really when they play action. We can really get going for them. And, that keeps the pressure off him and keeps the clock running. So for us, stop the run, get them off the field on 3rd down. And when we do get the 3rd down, stop the screens, because that's definitely what's been hurting us a lot the past few games. Stop the screens and let our defensive line, go try to get the quarterback and, make some big plays on the back end.
I imagine last year when you weren't playing, you probably watched his college team play a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Did he jump out at you then? Because he wasn't as highly touted as some of Trevor Lawrence or someone like that. Did he jump out at you watching him though in college?
Honestly, I feel the same thing that you're seeing in the NFL with him now is what you saw in college. I would say it's probably a little more deep balls, with the receivers that he had last year. But that confidence still there. The swagger that he had when he make his plays. And when the run game is going well for him, that's really opens up for the play action. And if you watch the college tape, he got some nice balls when he's throwing deep off the play action, or when the run game is going well. So like I said, our first step is to make sure that we handle the run game well. Then after that, get off the field on 3rd down.
Take a couple more. This is a first rematch game for you guys, having played them just a few weeks ago. So how much of a measuring stick is it to see how much this team has improved since then? And so what could you take out of that first week?
So I guess the best way to put that, if you're into watching, your opponent's previous games, you try to dissect what they've done since they played you, and trying to see if they're still kind of doing the same thing or if they changed up things. And just from watching film the last few days, what they do is what they do. I mean, the coaches that they have, the players that they have, the personnel, for the most part, they all been together, for decades now. So it's always going to be little nuances when you play a team again to try to, trick you or do something new, show something different. But, after we say like the first 15 plays, after the plays that they have designed for your team, it's going to get back to, Patriot football. They're going to run the ball. They're going to have the 2 backs leads. They're going to throw play actions and try to get behind you. And at the end of the day, that's their formula to winning. So once we see whatever new things they try to do, once we get that figured out, then we just got to play our type of ball and do what we've been taught. Trust our process and go play.
You had mentioned the screens on 3rd down. Is that without giving strategy away, but this is an upfield attacking defense, and is that the one almost kryptonite of that kind of style where you're a little bit vulnerable to that?
Yes, it is for sure. The best way to stop an aggressive defense is to have screens, and with the way that our linebackers play when we're in the coverage a lot, it gives a lot of space in the middle and off the edges. So for us, we just have to do a great job of knowing the situations that they run screens, but also once we see the screen, everybody get into the ball. If you think about the first game, the big screen they had, I think around the 30 or 40-yard line, when I believe it was White that had the screen. He broke it 20, 30 yards. We was all in coverage, but just everybody has a screen play for the defense is everybody running to the ball. So at the end of the day, that's what we have to do to stop it.